mentioned that overpass pick as well. The fact that they've got that as a decider as well as Dust2 as well, it's something that does start to ring ever so slight alarm bells. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see as we're about to get started in toward Dust2. Map number 1 of today's action. Sam, we already mentioned how this is going to be an interesting one. Let's kick start the runnings. Dust2 on the way. MIBR versus 9Z. This one should be a banger. This is two of the best teams within the South American region, of course, in the upper bracket. I think it's safe to say this one's going to be exciting. We'll have to wait and see how this one plays out.
Well, interestingly enough, it's not a 5-stack rush. I do have a slight look. Too sure if it's actually going to get too much done there, but it's nice to have that little bit of information. Bearing in mind, of course, pistol rounds tend to be very chaotic, and well, there you go. Proof is in the pudding.
All right, Star. I'm actually going to find one, trying to hold it down. Wood actually in for the trade, but it's luken to drop exit. Numbers still favored on the CT side. 9Z. Keep them an advantage now for Wood and Tuurtle. It's a tough 2 versus 3 with a real lackluster amount of space, and luken causing even more problems. He's really stepped into his own in the last kind of few months, filling some big shoes in the AWP role with Try moving over towards 0-0 Nation and, well, stepping big in towards a pistol round. Second kill found, looking to make it a third and tapping away. He's going to do exactly that. First round goes the way of 9Z. On the CT side of their opponent's map pick, the dream starts.
There you go. That's generally what tends to happen when you don't pick the map. You pick the side, you pick the stronger side, and that's going to be a nice little start here for 9Z. Okay, it's kept close, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that it is pistols.
Yeah.
But MIBR don't get that super all-important bomb plant, so their money is a mess.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, they're not really going to be able to get anything. Just going to be with the pistols once again. Hopefully they'll be able to buy in into the next round. As we've mentioned a couple times, it's so important for the CT side to win that pistol round, just to make sure that they have some sort of economy to work with coming into the next few rounds. There's a good bit of firepower here available for 9Z. This A site is relatively unguarded, and that could prove problematic.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as we stand, you know, you look towards a map like Dust2. We mentioned MIBR as one of their strong picks in the last 3 months. They played 17 times with a 71% win rate. I mean, it's a very, very big kind of stat line to bring in. But for 9Z, it's not one that they kind of fear away from. Yes, granted, they've only played 6 times, but to be winning 83% of those is already themselves not the worst of positions to be in. Luken going to find the first. Molotov's coming towards short as well. Doesn't want to take it too aggressive. The GT comes in for a triple. Make that a quad to his name. He was the highlight player in the last 3 months with 1.26 rating. And he's showing exactly why he's arguably the MVP of not only his own team, but the server itself. 2-0 in favor of 9Z and a quad kill with DGT.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see DGT really coming up big here. I'm looking to see some of the MIBR players kind of show up a little bit. I mean, we highlighted Chelo so much in the previous series. So this is someone that we really do need to keep our eye out on, particularly now that he's got a rifle in his hands. He's going to have quite a bit of firepower to back him up. But JOTA was another player who also did a lot of work previously, and getting dropped all the way down to such low HP doesn't bode well.
No, not at all. Not really a kind of dream position they wanted to be in. Still, as we wait and see, they're making their way out towards long, trying to hold down the fort. It's a slow take in. Luke with a double. DGT comes in for support. I think that more or less sums up this round in their favor, with only 1 player remaining alive. Or 2, may I say, sorry, but with JOTA on half HP, he's more or less out of the fray. It's reliant upon 1 player, that of Wood. And I think as we stand for MIBR, in a 2 versus 4, numbers don't favour them, neither the HP. This one's a done affair. The crossfire too immaculate, and for 9Z, they're just holding down the fort. They can't even get out towards long.
This is actually a surprising result, I think. You know, we kind of spoke about how they're trying to get some rifles in their hands, so there's a possibility here to start making something happen. We're looking to players like Chelo, like JOTA, to crack open those sites, and it's actually Wood who is the highest kills, which, okay, given that it's 2, isn't massive. But we'd also mentioned how he'd had a bit of a quiet start to the day. So it's nice to see him potentially start to show up a little bit here. Nice round for 9Z as well to come out on top of. I'm wondering if they might actually be able to swap out that FAMAS, if they can maybe find another AK on the ground somewhere. Maybe try and get that in the back pocket. Would be nice. Don't know if there's a lot of time for it. But regardless, they're going to have a ton of money coming into this next round. So Yep, nope. Even if they can't, they're able to buy in. Not the end of the world.
No.
Sitting pretty. MIBR, on the other hand, yeah, there's potential for a bit of a force here. And okay, it's going to be Deagles. Not the firepower they would have wanted.
No, no.
They couldn't clinch it on their rifle round. And a lot of that's going to come down to their approach.
Agreed.
So this is going to be one of those rounds you kind of get through, gather a little bit of information, maybe try and find some patterns in what 9Z are doing. And in the next round, we need to see some changes.
Well, you know, as you mentioned, couldn't do it on the rifle round, and now, unfortunately, because of that, it's left him with a tough economic situation. Only the pistols coming out, and a real lackluster amount of armor and utilities to support. More or less, there should be a fourth round on the board. It's being made a little bit harder for them. Max will take an initial brunt of damage. Going to fall back to a slightly more passive position. It's still a 5-on-5. Damage has been dealt both ways, and the C side of MIBR making their way over towards A, it looks like. In comes an A to follow suit. Chip damage dealt over towards chelo, but not going to be too problematic in the long scheme of things. With them leading the charge, the Eagles in hand, a lot to do, not a lot to work with, and a smoke to come in to try and deny that space.
And it's going to be one of those short pushes, quite popular in the previous series as well. MIBR does somewhat tend to favor them, but it's luken with the spray through the smoke in the most obvious position, and he does manage to connect onto someone. Bit of luck there, bit of prediction, and MIBR find themselves one down.
They're still sneaking the way on towards A though, but even towards Goose. DGT good for one, luken covering support, and this hold from them has been absolutely stellar. Really, really well played. Cannot complain in the slightest. The way in which they executed that was stellar. So brilliantly played, and well, unfortunately, once again for MIBR, what was a nice idea, their default over towards short, well, became oh so costly.
This is the luken and DGT show. This team has 20 kills. 17 of them are split between DGT and luken. It's absurd. But you know what? Sometimes that's exactly what you need. You need those players that are going to kind of put you in the backpack. And when you're having a rough day, make sure that you're going to be okay. Now, MIBR able to buy into this once again. They've got the AWP in hand. They've left the bomb in spawn. So going to send someone to go and pick that one up. Bit of a mistake there. It's going to slow down the pace a little bit. Thankfully, MIBR do tend to be a slightly slower, more patient team. They've got a nice default across the map here. Looking to garner some of that info. But NZ have got really good control of all of the map at the moment.
You're really going to love the play style so far from 9Z. They've been absolutely on fire. So far, so good. DGT on to 7 kills. I mean, luken on a 10-0 KD. They call him a god for a reason, and he's been doing exactly that. It's the flawless start continuing. But of course, the full buy coming out. Rumby's to come through. MIBR going for that early bit of aggression to a short, but it's exit to find the opener. Finds rocks through the smoke, and headshot in their favor. Guess the numbers.
Exit finds the opener. Nice. You know what? Sometimes it just works out like that. And that's good. And the nice thing, of course, is that MIBR are not going to play this overly aggressive now that they've got the opening kill, but DGT is going to trade it out.
Oh, 1-for-1 trade. Chelo dropping a move at only 1 kill. He's been brilliant to find multi-frags. This time, not the case. And now becomes a very tough hold for luken. Only into his back plat. Flash won't really catch him as we stand. Sound cue's being made. They're trying to seek their way forward. Good timing from luken. Good for one, but he doesn't expect the second. Winning for the trade. Chelo holding for the flank in a matter of seconds. Max is, well, left in a very tough 1 versus 3, and I think he might even be tempted to go for a save just for this AK-47.
It's interesting, you know, so MIBR play this the slower game. They wait for 9Z to get antsy. They managed to get the first kill all the way over towards the B site, and that's a really good opener. And because they're defaulting so nicely across the map, there isn't really like a committal anywhere just yet. So it does make a nice little opening for them to then decide, okay, well, where are we going to go? But they slow it down a little bit. And as I say, 9Z get a little bit antsy, a little bit impatient. They start to push out. We saw it with DGT. He pushes out from lower and immediately gets a kill, but gets traded. Now, not only is there a kill happen on the B site, but there's a kill that's happened in mid, which means the B site is relatively unguarded. And that's perfect a moment for MIBR to capitalize on, get onto the side, get the bomb down. It's really well played. I wanted to see like a shift in how they were approaching the rounds, and that was perfect. It was clinical. If they can continue with that, yeah, we might be in for one hell of a match today.
Well, that's the plan, right? We hopefully will see exactly that. MIBR, that's the start we wanted from them. To kind of on their second time of asking with a full buy, be able to find a little bit of security. And, well, they do exactly that. Pick up an opener. Well, can the ODP do anything? Wood going to hold in the Molotov. Not going to spot it out. The flashbang will catch him. It's no real information gained as Max tries to go aggressive in towards lower. But JOTA gets a freebie.
And again, that nice little opening pick changes up the pace for 9Z. They know that the pick's in mid, so they got that information. Oh, and Wood wins the AWP battle. That's massive.
Oh, and unfortunately, it was looking like he could have fallen there, but no, chelo was down brilliantly. Find DGT, looking for one more, but he's traded out. Gonna find at least one, Dav 1D. The question is, can Dav make it even a further situation for them? He's low on HP, 11 points to work with in a 1 versus 4. And for him, it's about holding, waiting, trying to deliver on anything more, but no, not gonna be the case. He's traded out by Tuurtle. That's MIBR, who bring this game to within 2, and I think more importantly, are starting to put quite a lot of pressure over towards 9Z's economy. Yes, they'll be able to pick up a buy coming in towards round number 7, but it's not going to be the most secure one. You look at like David, for example, and Max, I mean, both of them lacking in terms of a bit of long-term economy, same with DGT as well, so it's going to be that glass floor analogy coming through once again, where for 9Z, kind of failure to convert round number 7, it leaves them with no economy for at least a round, if not 2, depending on the double eco situation. So tough to being. Brilliant flash though, JOTA finding the opener. Max gonna fall, looking to find one more. The CZ IKEA builder gun won't be able to deliver on too much as JOTA makes it 2, looking for the 3rd, and which exit delivers on.
I mean, sure, why not? You know it's an anti-eco, you know you have the advantage. A nice little flash comes out, as you mentioned, and the capitalization on it is perfect. It's also a Ferrari swing, so even if one, you know, the 9Z players are flashed out and they aim at where you would normally come out, you know, that kind of predictive fire, because it's the Ferrari swing, the chances that the shots are going to connect are pretty low. Those shots don't miss, however, but it's chelo that cleans it out there. And MIBR get themselves 1 round away from evening it out. But 9Z going to be able to buy in once again here. And this could be where they start to turn it back around again. Luken has that AWP back in his hands. Now, we have seen that he, you know, the very first AWP battle between Luken and Wood, it went in Wood's favor. Luken going to have to be on guard here to make sure that he doesn't allow that to happen again. Once again, a nice little split here from MIBR. Find a little bit of information. Oh, that smoke lands just the right time.
One of those things as well. I mean, for 9Z, what was a brilliant start, MIBR's brilliant resurgence that has led them to be only within 1. And now the momentum completely shifting hands. That glass floor is ever prevalent for 9Z. Failure to convert, double eco, tough situation for them. At the very least, they've got their AWP in play. I think Luken's the one to make a difference. Kind of the real question marks for 9Z came about when Try left the side and he, of course, moved over towards 0 Zone Nation. It was potentially looking like, you know, they could be without an AWP and you get a big boost to fill, but Luken's done it absolutely perfectly. He has been a real difference maker for this side and arguably one of their best players, if not alongside DGT. So, I mean, for 9Z, now with his AWP in hands, for Luken, who's currently 12-3, getting him off the board, getting those gears in motion with a big green could be what allows them a pretty dominant first half.
MIBR going once again for this short A push. There is presence towards mid. Oh, it looks like they could be faking this out. There's movement towards mid, but DGT is on it. He spots it out, gets that first kill here, and MIBR have to rotate in a tough spot.
Holding, waiting as well. Now the opening kill going to the CT side. The rotation's been brilliant. And they know all too well they're making their way over towards that B side. Rocks waiting his opportunity. No flash to push him off the angle as well. And he should be able to mop up a couple of kills here. Slightly laboured spray does become problematic, but in comes the rotation. David finding damage, but no kill as of yet. And it's Tuurtle to trade him out. But time is of the essence, and look at it. Clock was the worst enemy for MIBR. 9Z, they get a free round just off the back of it. MIBR calling that rotation way too late and paying the price for it.
Honestly, I was a little worried about the timing from Blackbird while he was on that lurk, but it manages to work out perfectly, and he's able to pincer in behind 9Z, and or rather behind MIBR. And one of the big issues there, so they start by making a little bit of noise over towards A through short. Then they start moving the bomb in through lower, but DGT is waiting. They kind of overplay their hand a little bit. Now as they start to push in. A nice little flash is going to come through, but it's a bit of a team flash. Leaves chelo in danger, but he does manage to get that kill, not before getting traded.
Into his long as well. The flash will give them a little bit of space. Just going to be caught off guard by it. And it's a 1-for-1. Max and David stepping up. Luken with the orb. We mentioned if he can start to get those gears going, he's going to be able to cause some issues. And there exactly it is. Finding one, looking for even more. As Exit makes that rotation over towards short, but the sound cue would have been heard. Rox is all too aware of where he's coming from, and this should be a freebie of a kill, all about timing. And we've actually left in a 1 versus 4. The information's gained, and surely this can be a clean-up. Damage has been dealt over towards 9Z, but with 4 players remaining, it's all about the trade game, and this is exactly what should happen. Luken holding, waiting, or behind, more or less a freebie as the sound cues have been made, the information relayed, and Luken, he does not miss those. 9Z make it 6. A 3-round lead, they double the rounds of their opponents, and 9Z on their opponent's map pick are doing a stellar job on their CT side.
But we do know about the trap that one falls into when it comes to CT sides. 9Z have a chance to, I say a chance. There's every possibility that things start to go awry once we swap sides, but they're looking to make as much of a buffer as they can to kind of cushion that blow somewhat. And they're off to a very, very good start here. With JOTA down onto just a Desert Eagle. Not ideal. They've sacrificed a little bit of firepower, making sure that they have a ton of util available as well. And the AWP battle is still possible. We'll see if that does come to fruition. Now, MIBR, we kind of spoke about this on Inferno, and they have these very, very slow plays. Inferno, the previous game, obviously. And that can very often backfire. They give a lot of time for their enemy to get into position. I mean, look at this 9Z map control. They're slowly circling in towards MIBR and giving them, like, no possibility to move.
Exactly that. What about shot for Wood to open things up as well? We've been talking heavily about the orbs making a difference, and while Wood, who had quite a slow series in general against Cruzeiro, already off to a little bit of a better start. Nice hold it though. David, nice and aggressive, wanted to close out a bit of space. The shadow should favour him as well as they make their way in towards double door. So potentially could be a free kill. It's all about timing in that scenario. However, time has been slowed right down. MIBR with a man advantage, not going to capitalise on any space as we speak. They're just waiting for their opportunity, biding their time, and in it comes. Utility going to be utilised in towards that short position, gives them a bit of space to cross, and they're fully sending their way back over towards their default. Chelo leading the charge, looking to find the opener, but it's going to be David to kickstart things brilliantly, looking to make a 2, which he does alongside Luke, and turns off on the flank, takes a lot of damage, but now David's in a precarious spot, being flanked in all scenarios, all positions, and the elevator boost could be their saving grace. And the Kukli as well from the flank. Rox finds one more, and it leaves it all down to 1. Wood, AWP in hand, 1 versus 2. This time not able to convert. DGT in for the trade, and 9Z keep this winning streak going.
They're looking so strong right now. MIBR really struggling to get a foot in. And again, I mean, at the start of that round, I was talking about how I loved the map control that they were taking. They were pushing out. You see one pushing all the way out long, all the way, like, out towards the T spawn. And then you've got quite a deep hold from, out of B main as well. So they've cut off so much of the map. And MIBR can't turn around. They can't change direction. They can't move anywhere because they're going to run into a 9Z member. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they push very slowly. So it gives 9Z the time that they need to position.
For sure.
And now, they find themselves once again onto, pots and pans. Not an ideal by any stretch of the imagination. And again, if 9Z win this round, that guarantees them the lead at the half.
I mean, you're absolutely spot on. That is one of those scenarios. Not a bad start either. Rox stepping up. They make it oh so easy. Rox will fall. Max will clean things up. And there it is. That lead at the half. With 4 remaining alive, it wasn't even really made too expensive for MIBR. And that's just a scenario of a low buy. You're hoping to find, a couple of kills. The priority get a bomb down. It gives you a bit of longevity, but they find, well, neither. 1 kill, no bomb plant, and 9Z comfortably with Rox and Max clean up over towards that B site. 8-3, a 5-round lead, and 9Z on their opponent's map pick. We said that they've got that deep map pool, and this is where it's becoming all the more prevalent because they are looking stunning so far.
I mean, to be honest, it was MIBR that I really felt had the potential advantage here, and unfortunately, they just played this map, so you'd think that would account for something. But again, I mean, look at this deep angle from David, so just outrageous in his positioning, and MIBR have no idea how to deal with it. It feels like they have good ideas, but they're so slow to execute, and 9Z just consistently chip away at them. More deep angles, more value. David is all over the map. He's here, he's there. He never stops moving.
Yeah, David's been a real problem. He's one of those names that's been kicking around the South American scene for quite a while, and this is exactly why, because he is always an issue, but so is Chelo. Even for the trade, and a quick one at that. Now gives a bit of an entry over towards their default of short. The only thing, this has been a default over towards MIBR time and time again. I mean, we must have seen it now over the last kind of 3-4 rounds, aside from that eco pistol rush. And they've really yet to find any success. 9Z have been so good at holding them down on it, and this is where things do become problematic. But the all board alone now, luken cannot miss this shot here. As Chelo's in towards ramp, he needs to be careful. His flag missed shot. Oh slightly pressured one as well, but second time Asking comes alive. X is going to fall. The CT's being held. Max will drop. Wood finds luken. A quick trade coming in makes it a 1 versus 1, and now there's all to play for. With 20 seconds left on the clock, a decision has to be made. Rock slowly sneaking his way forward. He was tempted by the Kukli, but just going to keep the shift walk in, trying to deny the shot, and yes, he does. Wood went for the swing, and he pays the price for exactly that. Rock's in a clutch situation. Nerves of steel. Finds 9Z, their 9th round.
That's really sad for MIBR. So those deep angles eventually start to work against 9Z, and MIBR are able to kind of start to overrun them a little bit. But they maintain their composure. It comes down to that 1 versus 1, and Rock's just a little bit quicker on the draw, just a little bit faster to get those shots off. He's going to secure them yet another round. And I'll be honest, man, MIBR, they are kicking themselves after that one. It was so close, and they still just could not make it happen. Now the timeout's going to come through, and it's definitely needed at this point. Hasn't been going the way they would have wanted. Strats seem to be completely read by 9Z. But let's also just bear in mind that their strats consist of A short push, mid to A push, A short push.
Yes, yeah.
And slowly. So it's been fairly easy for 9Z to read. So I'm hoping that we see some changes here, and maybe they'll be able to take 9Z off guard.
It's one of those things, right? I mean, exactly that. As we stood so far, it's been the exact same plays time and time again, and well, sadly, you hate to say it, but it's not been good enough. They're going for that deep over towards short. It's where they find their comfort, but 9Z are obviously read into them so well, and they've got 2 of their best players there in terms of David and DGT, that it's always going to be a very comfortable cleanup for them time and time again, and that's exactly what we have seen. 9-3 and the score. 6-round lead for 9Z. And a buy coming out for MIBR, and a failure to find a bomb plant more or less breaks their economy.
Well, the chip damage is going to come through from both sides, in fact. This is an interesting hold from 9Z. I mean, they're reading into MIBR's plays so perfectly. I was kind of hoping that MIBR would change things up a little bit here, but kind of more of the same, and the potential from David here to maybe lurk around, and once they start moving in, the potential lurks from Rox and from Max as well. This could be so dangerous for MIBR.
Let me find is the question. Holding back sides as well. DGT trying to bide a little bit of time. Spotted out. Finds one though. Look for the second. Molotov will give away the ruse. David in for the trade towards exit. Looking to find one more, but it's Wood in for an equal trade. Bomb still yet to go down though. They're not confident in terms of the plant position. One came from short. They're also cautious of it. Smoke will be in the face. And it's down to Rox and Max. And the flank is coming forward. Bomb to be planted. 20 seconds left to work with as they get it down. Post plant somewhat set up, and Max now slowly maneuvering his way forward. Smoke will come through. Flash over the top as well. They're double stacking towards short, and this could be problematic information game where they line up, damage dealt. I don't know where both of them are. For Max, it's a tough retake. Knows the information, but only a Molotov to work with. Not good enough.
This was good from MIBR, actually. I was a little concerned because I have kind of noted how many potential lurks or flanks there were there, but MIBR, for one of the first times, they actually play that quite quickly. They get themselves onto the site. It takes them a second or two, obviously. You want to get a little bit of information before you actually commit that, but they don't stagnate the way they have been previously. Once they get that information, once they've made that decision, they move on to the site, they set up some pretty solid post plants as well, and because they managed to take down the few players that are towards the A site, they know that they can focus a lot of their attention over towards mid, over towards B, and the rotations that will be coming from that direction. So it works out quite nicely for them. They find themselves in the 2 versus 1, and thank God for that, because if it was the 1 versus 1, who knows how that may have ended. But they do manage to get themselves yet another round in the bag, and now this is where they've just taken their second timeout as well. Again, you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. You don't want to get overconfident, overexcited. Take a breath and say, okay, that worked. What do we do now? How do we keep this momentum going? How do we make sure not to make those same mistakes again?
That's the question. I see the answer. 9-4 is where we stand. 9Z knocking on the door with double digits as well. But I'm a mouthful that one. But that's exactly what they're doing.
So hard.
Boosting towards stores, and David didn't even expect Tuurtle to be up and above. Peeking above the smoke, easy kill for him. An advantage, early doors, goes the way of MIBR. Now what is the response on 9Z? They're in a bit of a 2-2 split as well. They're also cautious of B, but realistically, it's not looking like that we tested too much in towards this round with that early open over towards long. I like the reaction from 9Z. They've gone for that double stack to try and, I guess, pounce on any sort of aggression MIBR tried to muster up.
Oh, David being taken out here. I mean, he's been so strong for the team here, just in terms of his aggression and those really crazy angles that he's been taken. Now 9Z are forced to actually play a slightly more strategic, slightly slower game as well. And MIBR back to the really slow plays. Flash comes out, gonna give an opportunity to push in. They spot the first, but can't connect.
DGT, rocks, one apiece. Spoke about that numbers advantage being also important, and look how it's changed hands. The only thing that also has changed hands is that control over towards the B side. Flash will come forward, or peeking above it, not going to quite connect second time I'm asking either. Boost will come through, and the M4A1S left with a lot to do to try and deny that space, which he does brilliantly. Finding one, look for the second. Shooting toes, and it's good enough, and it leaves all down to Chelo. He's found 2, looking to make it a 1 versus 4 clutch, but in transition, Rocks will close that one out. 9Z, we said they were looking for double digits, and now they found it. 10-4, potentially even 11 at the half, depending on what they can find heading into round number 15 or final of the half. And you look over towards the T side, it's not the easiest situation in terms of their economy. Wood, Tech9, JOTA, just a Mac-10, Sport to buy a triple AK-47. It's a really uncomfortable situation for MIBR to be in to try and deny 9Z 11 rounds in the first half.
They were really hoping that they'd be able to, secure that previous round, and unfortunately they're going to come into this one with a bit of a broken bye. 9Z, they have the opportunity here. They can be the B push, and okay, it's a good trade here. It's still doable.
Oh, Max and Rock on a piece. Chelo coming in once again. We've mentioned his name time and time again in that previous series as being such a difference maker, and there it is. Looking to find even more, but it's Wood to fall through the smoke. Luken, traded out by Chelo. David, trying to do what he can. He spots out the information as well. AK collected. He's also cautious of the flank, and the bomb drop to the other side of that smoke leaves Chelo's task all the more tougher. A 1 versus 2, and all they have to do is play for the trades, but no. DGC tries to go it alone, and that could become costly. It's all down to David, and what can he deliver in this sort of situation? The answer is nothing. 10-5 at the half. MIBR do what they can, but the question is it enough? We'll see you after the break.
Look into my face. you wanna say? I've been looking for you, looking for you, looking for you. Lay me down, leave me lost and found. Lay me down, loudly without a sound, and I will rise, rise, and I will fly, fly, rise,
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on the way. Second half has started. 10-5 is where we stand. 9-0. Pretty comfortable, decent lead, I think it's safe to say. The question is now, how far can they take it? Only a bit of mid-aggression coming forward from JOTA. Oh, that's information gain. But 9Z, they're flooding over towards B. They want an early fight. And David's going to do it so brilliantly, finding the first, luken for the second. And they're just flooding onto our B side. Easy plants coming forward. 5 versus 3 post plant. And, well, for 9Z, this should be a comfortable 11 on the board now.
Oh, JOTA went on a wild flanking mission. And
For
you know
nothing.
what? I can't really blame him because you don't know what's going to happen. But he wasn't with his team. He just got deleted. He couldn't be there for backup. And now it's just like, well, that's essentially where MIBR at this point. Well,
Yeah.
GG go next.
Exactly that. It's one of those things, you know, it was a nice idea, but the execution not quite there. Tuurtle does find himself at least a trade on towards David. Consolation kill, that's all it is. Potentially could add a couple more with a bit of aggression towards mids, but no, quick trade. Rock's just trying to make MIBR's day even worse. Nice press round for 9Z. Means that they go 11 up as we kickstart the second half in an electric fashion with a very simple plan of hold B, see what happens, and it works brilliantly.
Shocking.
Yeah, who would have
11 to
thought?
5. Oh, double scout. Alrighty. We'll see if this actually pans out. Of course, Wood was playing the primary AWP with Chelo as the secondary. And Chelo was doing a lot better than Wood in the previous series. But Wood has somewhat stepped up here. Chelo has kind of maintained. But it feels like they're on a bit of a seesaw. And the players that were doing well in the previous one are now not so much. And Wood that wasn't doing well is starting to do better. And consistency is the name of the game. If you can't get that consistency going, you're going to struggle. 9Z seem to have that in the bag. Doing really well here. Got a really good buy for themselves as well. playing fairly patiently. Again, that information gathering game before you actually commit to anything. Looks like they're going to try and go for this A short push.
Watching in that direction. Luken leading the charge. Molotovs will force off the CT side, and in fact, actually, 9Z are going to double back. They were tempted with kind of replicating the default of MIBR, making their way over towards that A site, and now they're toying with the idea. They don't need to overextend, and I think they're waiting to potentially try and bait out a rotation from MIBR back towards B. In comes the utility, though. And this could do exactly that into a CT that Utah has used. Missed shot with a scout as well would. Every missed shot becomes space creative for the T side, and of course potentially even a frag in their direction. And there it is. Wood will fall as David opens things up, makes it a second on towards the A side, and that more or less closes out the round because the remaining CTs have got so much to do, so little to work with. And DGG trying to cut off those flanks, catch those players in transition. Could be enough to leave them with nothing going in towards that next round. Scout caught in transition, caught off guard, his exit all alone. The eagle in hand, 1 versus 4. And DGT, he's just being a nuisance, trying to tap away, trying to deliver on a headshot. The question is, can he miss shots? But after a bit of a laboured spray, 12 rounds go the way of 9Z. And they are really significantly starting to pull away now. And even kind of further woes over towards MIBR. Sam, they've got no economy to work with.
DGT is so cheeky there.
Yeah.
But he knows that his team has won the battle. He knows that they're going to be able to get that bomb down, and then, you know, that's round. But he still hightails it all the way over to the B site just because he wants cleanup kills. Just because he wants to keep it expensive and take those guns away. It's mean, but it makes a ton of sense and it works out perfectly. And now, well, this was an eco for MIBR, so what do? They run it down, they get themselves deleted, and now as we come into the next round, they've got some serious cash that they can put into this. But we're getting closer and closer to match point. 9Z all the way up to 13 now. MIBR, we saw the double scout come out. Now we're going to have the double AWP. And that is it is way more difficult to say than you would think. Double AWP. Especially when you're saying it really quickly. But there you go. They're bringing that out. They're also bringing out the AUG, which we saw a little bit earlier as well. So quite a lot of potential firepower behind this. 9Z has been looking so good.
Max.
Keep up this aggression.
That's so aggressive from Max. He's just sending his way forward. He's not even trying to stop Molotov. Heating up the toes, but he's going to fall away. Rock's nice opener as well. And of course, what that does mean, that B site becomes barren. Double Molotov into his window. Players crossing. And we already mentioned about how in that previous series, we were kind of the fact we brought into it. Statistically speaking, the B site of Dust2, the hardest to retake in all of the competitive map pool, the active map pool at the moment. Hence why we're seeing MIBR not even attempt to retake in a 5 versus 4 situation. They've fallen away over towards long, and they're just going to keep hold of what they got because they know there's no way they're going to make their way back on towards that B site or even attempt that retake. That's 14 in the favour of 9Z, and potentially, Sam, this could be kind of just cannon fodder rounds and them closing it out.
This is devastating. I'm really surprised, given the performance that we saw in the previous series. Okay, I came into this saying that MIBR were a little bit of a question mark, you know? We were expecting a much stronger performance from them against Gretas, but they managed to secure it. So I was kind of hoping that maybe now, you know, they had quite the warm-up there. They'd already played this map. It was the last map they played in that series. So maybe they'd be able to come into this looking a little bit stronger, but they're getting slapped around a little bit. 9Z, if they win this round, that's going to put them onto match point, and MIBR, they're spending a bit of cash into this. Okay, they'll still be able to buy into the next round. Wood might be in a little bit of trouble because, of course, buying into that AWP means he's down to $0 here at the, you know, coming into this one. But I mean, that just makes this one of those must-win rounds, right?
This is a must-win round. I mean, you look over towards MIBR, failure to convert this round here leaves them heading into the next round, 9Z on 15, and then with no economy to work with. This is their last buy if they're unable to find around here. This has to be a 6th on the board, or else MIBR lose their map pick in quite the emphatic fashion, which is not exactly where you want to be. Now, holding, standing, Rock's just ever so passive. Doesn't really want to take too much of a upper B control. Going to allow tunnels to be kind of in the favour of MIBR and play for that retake, but in comes the utility over towards long. Now, luken. Molotov in, smoke to follow suit as well. He's just looking for information. Nice shot as well, Wood. Orb versus Orb. This time Wood steps up to the fray. You mentioned a quiet series in our first game of the day. Second time of asking. He's actually started to step up and find his form and potentially could be a difference maker going forward. Now smoke going to come through. An aggressive peek by Tuurtle, but he delivers with a kill, looking to make it 2. Laboured spray, doesn't quite find it, but smoke in the face could allow him for another shot. JOTA comes in for support, and in a matter of seconds, it's down to 2. DGT rocks in a tough retake and a 2 versus 5. And I think more or less, this should be the round going in favour of MIBR. But the question is at what cost? Because the Rock is causing problems. He makes it 2.
I mean, this was a round that we said they kind of needed to win, and it was really nice to see Tuurtle and JOTA coming up here because they've been pretty quiet, contrary to what we saw in the previous series. So good to see them kind of step up a little bit here. Also, you see Tuurtle getting the MVP of the round. And that extra little bit of cash is also really important because it means that they're still able to buy in again. It means that, Wood's going to be able to get the AWP back after losing that out in the previous round. So he's going to still come in with all that firepower. They've got a good chunk of util behind them as well. They're sitting pretty. But bearing in mind, 9Z won so many rounds that, yeah, they're fine. And still on the cusp of getting into that match point scenario. Interesting aggression here out of MIBR. This could catch 9Z off guard.
Interesting aggression coming forward into us long, but of course Rock's making that way into us lower tunnels. They could try and go for a mid-split here, potentially push it back over towards B where they've had that success before. Flash to come forward as well, gives them that space if they want it, but no, they're not going to capitalise. A flash has come in, but they're going to make that crossover towards short once again, and try and utilise where MIBR struggled in that short default. Still, tempo slow, and this is kind of textbook South American CSGO. Bait a lot of that utility and kind of just play things on the slower side. But Exit, very nice sort of aggression coming forward from him, and that's information gained to sound cues at the very least, allowing for the triple stack over towards long. But Exit is do or die, kind of failure to find a kill here, and this could be very costly. The double stack when he missed orb shot. Exit want to go aggressive, and he works in his favour. Rock's going to fall, and that's exactly what they needed. Man advantage collected, smoke and Molotov in the face, but what can JOTA do? Well, he's got util in hand, and he pays the price for it. David for 1, quick trade from Wood. Brings the numbers back in favour of MIBR, but still they're making their way over towards the A side. And the second time of asking, that missed shot could become costly, because now that bomb can go down.
It's interesting, I criticized MIBR for their playbook of a short push, a short push, a short push, a short push. And 9Z are doing something very, very similar here. They kind of keep repeating the same thing that they've done over and over, and MIBR have had a pretty decent read on it. Oh man, there you go. And Grenade's going to take out Max, so down to the last couple of players here. And of course, they did at least get that bomb down, so that's the extra little bit of cash. But with all of those guns taken out of their hands, and this is only a 2-round loss streak bonus, so there isn't a hell of a lot behind it. It's only really DGT and Max that have cash. Rock's got a teeny bit there, but what realistically are you going to be able to bring into this next round? It's going to be a rough buy. Oh, there you go. DGT and Max like shoot up there, but still, it's not ideal. It's not perfect. And MIBR feeling a lot more comfortable now. It's taken a little while for them to get into the swing of it. It's taken a little while for them to get into the groove. But it's nice to see that they're starting to show up a little bit more here. I suppose when the pressure's on, with the backs against your wall, you show up.
Yeah, well, finally, right? And it's one of those scenarios that we were asking for it. And it does take its time, it happens. But yeah, as you mentioned, the economic situation is slightly problematic. Oh, the lower tunnels hold. Luken not going to be able to connect. It's a tough shot to hit. Fortunate to stay alive as well, Wood. He was looking for a bit of information. Going to double back over towards that triple long stack that has been so prevalent from IBR. And as the smoke comes through in towards Xbox, will they expect the lower push? Chelo does. Good for 1, but only. Quick trade from David. Brings the numbers level once again. 9Z, who have had a troublesome couple of rounds. Now not a bad spot because, of course, trade game does favour the T side. And making their way over towards B, which is looking like where they're posturing towards with that CT smoke coming in. That's going to work in their favour. The mid-B split is something that works oh so well. And we already mentioned about how hard that B site is to retake.
Well, they've smoked that off quite nicely, but they're not pressing the advantage. And, this positioning from Rock so far away, I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more information come out of that. But again, they have stalled out somewhat. They're really slowing down. now they start to commit over towards the B side, really trying to get into MIBR's head, but MIBR possibly going to start this rotation. Both teams so hesitant, so unsure of where it's going to be safe to push in, but now the execute's going to come in towards the B side. Do they know exits there? Oh, they check it, but exits just
trying to. Jota DDT, one apiece. Look at the flank coming forward, though. Tuurtle stepping up. Dropping Luke in the ADA being at least DDG in a very tough 1 versus 3. The priority is getting that bomb down, but even that's a tough ask. All they have to do is hold and wait. Nice shot, though. Good for one. Looking to find one more. The question is, will he expect the flank from both sides? And no, he didn't expect the double pushing towards upper tunnel. Jota, finding the trade. MIBR, find ace. What was a slow map in general, bearing in mind it is their map pick. They've now started to find a little bit of form. MIBR on a good run, and of course it does mean that over towards 9Z is probably just going to be that deco buy coming out. Deagles, bit of utility, potentially a little bit of armor, but they want to stick around 2k. Gives them a buy going into the wars the next without having to kind of be too overzealous in terms of the expenditure.
They give up so much map control in that previous round.
They do.
It feels like they're going for control, and then they just give it up. And they allow those rotations to come in. But, well, the Deagle reigns supreme. That's going to be Tuurtle taking a dive. Not the most impactful player, it must be said, to have taken off the board. But it does give them the numbers advantage. It does also, however, kind of signal that it's probably going to be this A push, and they might start to reinforce this. I do like that David is over towards B side. He might be able to make use of a good rotating lurk there, but oh, chelo with a collab. How can you... Okay.
Well, unfortunate for 9Z. You mentioned as well earlier, just kind of about how Turtle's not been that impactful, and he was a real difference maker earlier, and I think that's been the story of MIBR so far, is the individual's not really stepping up. Yes, chelo has been absolutely phenomenal, no questions asked, he's always the big name for the side, but when you look generally speaking, Luke's on 22 as well, David on 17, DGT on 17, Rock's on 18. I mean, their individuals have really come out to play and have kind of put this impactful frags on the board, while you look at MIBR and it's kind of really the story of one. I mean, Exit on 43 ADR, Jota on 49 isn't exactly where you want to be. Yes, Max himself is on 49, but fortunately the other four have stepped up enough that it's not too big of a problem, and of course he was playing that B lurk position, so you don't expect too much frags from him. But that's the big thing. MIBR, they've had one player set up the fray, and that's a chelo, and that's really about it. Potentially a wood here and there, but that's where MIBR struggled.
Nice little deep angle here from chelo again. Oh, looking to get a sneaky pick off there. Sees the flash come out, knows he has to move off of his position. Okay, does a bit of chip damage there, but he has to give up that space. And this is what we needed to see a little bit more out of 9Z. Take back control of the space. Don't give over so much of it and allow those lurks to come in and shut you down. Now, again, it's looking like they're going to posture towards a B site hit. We need to see them take that control. We need to see them on the lookout for the potential lurks and flanks, but making sure to carve themselves a nice little entryway in onto the side. We mentioned the economy time and again, and looking at what they have available to them now. Yeah, this is a round that really does need to come up big for them. However, MIBR still in that position of cannot afford to make a mistake.
Backside, exit, Max one apiece. Molotov burning his toes, and David will be able to find that kill with exit falling. The B site's open, the plant comes forward, and once again, we already mentioned about how tough it is to retake. And MIBR, they're not even tempted by the idea. Keep hold of what they've got. I think the main reason not tempted is you look towards the economy of like Tuurtle, for example, not the greatest. They want to try and prolong this economic situation for them, but they know as well, with a man disadvantage, there's no way they're making it back in towards that site. Exit frags is what they'll look for, and potentially they might be able to find one or two, but shouldn't cause too much of an issue. Actually, no, there are exits in their way. Would add one more to his so far not so bad tally. And potentially a couple more could be added to it, but no, they don't need to overextend. And like that, Sam, we're at 15 on MIBR's map pick. 9Z are one round away from making it a 15th.
Oh, I mean, at the start of that round, I was saying how MIBR couldn't afford to make a mistake. And that was just such a good round from 9Z. I don't know, I feel like the cost to curse might be real. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
You know it.
But, you know, a little bit of a util comes out over towards the B side. Flash some players out, get yourselves in onto the side, get that bomb down. And there you go, you secure the shot. You secure yourself match point. We also kind of mentioned about how their economy was looking messy in that round, and it was a round that they needed to win if they were going to come into this one with a bit of a bye, and now they do have that bye, but MIBR did hold on to those 2 WAPs and at least one of these rifles. Wood doesn't connect the shot, but there's information that there's movement towards lowers, and well, MIBR consistently have really good map control, so it's not going to make the hugest difference as to where they're positioning themselves, but at least they know what to expect, and they can start to kind of predict, well, what might come next?
That's the question. What might come next? You've seen the defaults over towards that short play. Oh, that's a sound cue game, but chelo not going to be able to connect on the shot. Max still leading that charge, trying to find something. A healthy amount of nade damage going to come forward as Max sets on 23. And for Max, he potentially might even want to opt to kind of just be a little bit more of cannon fodder. Play for the trades. Max will fall, but the quick trade comes in. Potentially, you know, with the likes of the AWP of Wood. Flash will come in. Woods to hold down the fort. Missed shot as well could become problematic, and being full blind. Molotovs himself in towards Ram, trying to hold in towards that side. David's going to fall. Finds a second on towards Max. Stepping up as JOTA comes in for support in towards Gandalf as well. Wood trying to deny the cross back over towards Short, but a laboured spray gives DGT a shot and gives him an opportunity, but in the 2 versus 4, it's easier said than done. And a dry peek in towards the AWP of chelo. It's DGT all alone, and Wood, who started that round off in a bit of a troublesome period, Molotoving himself, full blind, makes it a 3K.
It really is the story of chelo and Wood just dragging their team across the line. JOTA and Exit haven't even hit double digits yet. They've really struggled here. I will say, though, that it's nice to know that it's the kind of team where if 1 or 2 players are having a rough game, the rest are able to kind of pick up that slack a little bit, but is it going to be enough? Okay, 9Z, as much as they're still on match point, they got 4 deagles and a tech 9. It's not ideal, and like, I don't know, every flash imaginable could still potentially make something happen with that. They've already forced chelo off of his position, but with so little to utilize here, it's looking like it's probably going to be a, 11th round on the board for MIBR.
Surely it must be. Oh, hello. Okay. I got a second. Let me just hold the horses. David finds 1. chelo will fall, and that's an important kill. I mean, chelo, who's been on 23 kills so far, a difference maker. They don't want to count out the pistols just yet. They're going back towards the defaults of short, and they actually do have the utility to work with to potentially make the XQ on towards site. You mentioned in a low buy, the priority is just getting that bomb down, and that's what they're looking for. They're going to be testing the likes of Wood. He's holding from that a ramp. Shot going to come off, not going to quite connect, and actually the tech 9 of rocks for 1. Orb not going to be able to be pulled out in time. Tuurtle at range, good for 1 more. Luken trying to deny that control from Tuurtle, which he does, and it's all down to 1. Holding, waiting, the short swing comes through, and JOTA cleans that one up. MIBR find an 11th. 9Z, who were looking like they could have closed this one out kind of 16-6 at one point. Now, we're at 15-11.
That was quite sad, though, because he manages to pick up that AWP, and if he'd just been able to tuck himself away to get it out, maybe they can start to make something happen. But before he even has the opportunity to equip the weapon, he's taken down, cut down in his prime. And MIBR live to fight another day. 9Z now going to be able to buy in once again. Luken got that AWP in his hands, looking to take that fight. You know, we know he can beat out Wood, but between he and chelo, it's been rough goings. It's been somewhat back and forth. And chelo again with these very deep angles. I mean, it's ballsy, I'll give him that, but could be to his detriment. 9Z, however, have opted to circumvent that. They're somewhat expecting it. A lot of positioning across the map here. Haven't quite decided what they want to do just yet. Still haven't quite found an answer to this very aggressive CT side of MIBR.
I don't respect that by MIBR. They're not giving up any space if it was 9Z, which, you know, sometimes when your backs are against the wall, you could do exactly that. But no, this time they're kind of bringing it to them. They're playing their own game against them. And because of it, it's giving a lot of opportunities over towards MIBR. Attacking to come forward. Rocks down to 16. Still, they're sneaking their way through towards that A site. And this time, second time I'm asking, chelo the AWP steps up. Tuurtle going aggressive in towards double doors could be... That is dismay. It can make this opportunity to fall away. Fly like an assassin, but one that can't find the kill. JOTA drops David. Well, in a matter of seconds, Sam, it's 2 versus 5.
I mean, that literally was a bit of a blitz round. And again, I have to put so much weight on how MIBR are playing the CT side. It started out really rough, but I like the deep off angles that they keep taking. I like that they keep pressuring 9Z and forcing them into uncomfortable positions. It makes it so difficult for 9Z to kind of find an entryway in onto one of the sites. And even when they do start making their way in onto the site, MIBR are fantastic at closing whatever gaps, circumvent or circling around, and then starting to pincer in, close in on them, like the lionesses or the lions in the savannah. Well, lions don't hunt because they're lazy. It has to be the women.
Yeah, you know.
So we'll go with lionesses. But it really does. It makes you feel like they're being hunted down. And 9Z really do seem to be kind of struggling to find a way to deal with that. They did kind of well on it at the start, and then we saw MIBR take a bit of a timeout, and they've realized, all right, well, this is how we deal with 9Z, and so they kind of change up their pacing a little bit. Now we need to see that from 9Z. 9Z have been playing a very, very slow game, giving up a lot of map space and not really allowing themselves the space that they need. I kind of want to see them take a little bit more of an aggressive stance, you know, aggression meets aggression, and see if you can come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen 9Z go for that very, very simplistic rush B, and it's worked on a couple of occasions. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. They know chelo was posted up there earlier. Yes, the AWP might be good for one, but overwhelming the AWP is a very, very good way of getting a lot of space. It can be costly, but bit of utility and support with the map control. Very prevalent for the T side, but not what we're seeing so far. In towards lower tunnels they go, but an 8 damage done. As Davis dropped to 84, but a similar scenario once again. You know, for the likes of 9Z, they're giving up a lot of that space over towards MIBR and allowing the CT side to be aggressive, which so far has worked massively in their favour. So tempo with 1 minute 15 on the clock, and well, for 9Z, they kind of look a slight bit clueless. Oh, so I say, rocked, what a shot. Tuurtle gonna fall. The question is, do they clear JOTA in close and personal? Tucked in towards the corner, looking to replicate what we saw Digit do earlier. And JOTA's good for the first, looking to make it 2. Spotting the jiggle peak, and he doubles down brilliantly. Replicates what we saw Digit do also well earlier. And he's gonna fall back in towards pit. Now the AWP of Wood going to come in for support and try and catch off one more, but luken unable to even find a slight bit of impact. Yes, the T side have made their way on towards A, but the question is, they haven't got a bomb to work with. 2 versus 3, and JOTA range should be able to close things out, or so I say. Max, a tall order in a 1 versus 3.
Oof. That was a 1-2-3 swing, but in the wrong way possible. I kind of mentioned this a little while ago, about the A-short push, A-short push, A-short push, A-short push. Still a problem.
Of course, yeah.
We need to see some changes. We need to see some adaptations. It is a bit difficult though, right? So trying to push through mid towards B leaves you very open. You're going to have to use a lot of utility to make that possible. The push towards A from short is probably the safest one because of how much cover you're afforded, and that's probably why these teams lean into it so heavily, particularly on a round where they don't have a whole hell of a lot. Like now, I mean, they've got 2 smokes, right? They don't have the utility to challenge something like B, something, you know, like the mid to B or even the B main. But on those rounds where you have that util and you can make it work, I really feel like this could be the change that they need. I mean, even now on a round where they have next to nothing, they're still trying to push this short aggression.
They're trying for it, and of course, they don't really have the economy to work with it. Sigalil in hands. Double tech 9, not really exactly where you want to be. Anyway, forward. Max gonna fall, Rock's gonna follow suit, and there we go. 1 versus 4 for 9Z. That's MIBR knocking on the door of OT, and the way they've been playing so far, arguably they deserve it. This looked like it should have been a very quick closeout to map number 1, and MIBR have done everything right to tempt fate with an overtime on the cards, and the way they're playing, I think they honestly do deserve it. They've been the better side in this second half.
We spoke about the question marks around MIBR. Well, they've taken those question marks and turned them into exclamation marks, you know, straighten them out a little bit, much like they've straightened out their own play here on the CT side, and they're doing really well. Keep that control alive. But again, you know, you can't look at the one side without looking at the other. Yes, MIBR have been playing the CT side very well, but 9Z have been kind of hitting a wall here, and it's the same wall every time. I mean, look at all of that damage coming through. All right, Max getting that kill onto Wood blinded is pretty big, pretty impressive. That could be the opening that they need. Remember, we're still on match point.
Opening kill, oh, so important. Flash come forward. Just not going to be caught off guard by it. As the smoke dissipates, this is where Max's life becomes a question mark. And Rock's in for support as well. Over towards Xbox could be dicey. The question is, they clear? No, they don't. JOTA brings the numbers level and able to fall away as well. Molotov in towards short. He's trying to fall away, but the Molotov will cause his imminent death as Max finds one more to number. Level things out, but chelo, what is that no-scope? Delivers as Max falls 3 versus 3, and we're in for an exciting end to map number 1 as this one's going the distance. David and Co making their way out towards shore, potentially doubling back over towards B, which I think would be the right decision. But Exit holds and waits. He's the last bastion to deny this B control, and as he hears the sound cues, he knows he has to come up huge with a couple of kills. Smoke's coming towards CT. Exit holding close, looking for the first, delivering. Will the trade be able to find it? Yes, it will. The question is, will they spot the second in a 2 versus 2? chelo staying inside of the smoke. Good timing, drops the bomb, and it's all down to one man. David has to step up huge in 1 versus 2. Flash will come forward. Damage dealt them towards the orb, but it does not matter. Overtime is where we're heading. MIBR, what a comeback from them.
I'm blown away by this resurgence from MIBR. And I mean, that looked like the round that 9Z should have won.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed. I really thought that they had a huge opening there to kind of clean this one out for themselves. And as we said, win their opponent's map pick. It would have been a nice feather in the cap, but kudos to MIBR. Continuing along with a really good streak here on the CT side. Now, what makes this so terrifying for 9Z is that, well, obviously, heading into the...
Look into my face. Tell me now why you want to wait. Running out of words you wanna say. I've been looking for you, looking for you, looking for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in towards overtime, 15-15, 9Z. I mean, I think arguments to be made that they should have closed the one out. It was, I mean, at one point, kind of 14-6. And look where we are now, 15-15. MIBR, credit to though. I mean, they have been stunning on this CT side. I mean, arguably, we were having this conversation, Sam. You know, if 9Z potentially just went B a little bit more, I think they could have been all right.
I mean, does mine eyes deceive me? There's a 3-stack heading on over towards B right now. Okay, the bomb's still kind of posturing towards mid at the moment, but looks like they might just be... Yes, they're heading over towards B. There's only 2 players here. This could be it. We were kind of memeing in the green room about how 9Z probably win the first round of OT. Maybe they make it happen.
Flash going forward. But it's actually Max gets caught off guard by those flashes. JOTA, easy double for him. It's an uncomfortable use of the flashes by the T side because it actually gifts the CT free kills. Exit finding one more. David into the trade with a 2 versus 4. Molotov to come through to deny that window push. Smoking towards double doors allows David a free plant. But numbers still heavily favor the CT side.
This is really sad. I mean, we've been talking about how if they went B, then they'd have a better opportunity, but they go B and JOTA just like deletes everyone. He is a monster. Oh man. I mean, at this point, you know, we harped on it. We said time for them to go B, and then they go B and it doesn't work, and it's like, well, now what? And I think that could have worked. I think that they made a couple of misplays there. They kind of ran into JOTA's spray a little bit, particularly, you know, when he's flashed out and you're running straight in front of him and he's doing a bit of a predictive spray. So there is a little bit of luck involved there, but I don't want them to give up now, right? So they finally try it and it doesn't really work out. And I have these like horror images in my head that they're just going to keep going A short. And it looks like they're posturing towards mid. Pushing through the lower tunnel, but they might just be running straight into the cellos.
Nice tag. The nade as well, free kill. DGT's gonna fall. Really well played from chelo, closing out that space, finding the tag through the door. Nade's full of suit as well. It's textbook CSGO for the AWPer. And he's really stepped into his own with the big green in his hands. And now, with that man advantage in their favor, MIBR can just take a little bit of a step back. And the sound cues are being heard over towards that B site. Trigger discipline good for one. Exit holding for the push to come through. Not giving his way. David in for an opening double and towards that B site. And now this is looking significantly better from 9Z. Making their way forward. Molotov in towards window. Bomb to be planted. Question is, can JOTA deny any of that space? Trying to make his way in. Spotting out one. Damage dealt. Frag found. David falls. And numbers now favour the CT side once again. And heavily so with a missed AWP shot. Leaves Max in a tough 1 versus 3. And he's not even able to find 1 kill because JOTA's a man possessed. 3 kills to his name. And 17 rounds for MIBR. 2 away from the all-elusive 19 to close this out in the first OT.
You know what the really sad part about this is? It feels like these rounds, these last 2 rounds have been growing pains. So the first attempt at the B site hit doesn't really work out. You know, a couple of misplays here and there, predictive shots through the flash, etc. The second round, they get onto the site, they get the bomb down, but the post plants are a little bit wonky. All of these growing pains, they could have gone through 8 rounds ago.
Yes.
And they could have had the B site waxed. Now, however, they're like, all right, we tried it twice, it didn't work. Now we gotta, I don't know, figure out what the hell our next plan is gonna be. And they seem a little disjointed now. They don't actually know what the next plan is gonna be. And David goes down. Oh no.
Chelo, nice shot as well. Divine is second. Looks like a third. Will he be able to deliver? No, not this time. DGT in for the trade. They're making their way over towards long as well, with Max leading the charge. Numbers, of course, still favouring MIBR. And once again, we've already mentioned about how they can just play things on the slightly more passive style. A flawless CT side from MIBR and OT would be exactly what they're looking for. The flash will come in. We'll catch off the AWPer into his elevator. But Tuurtle in for support. Fortune stay alive would, but fortunately, it's Tuurtle. It's Guardian Angel. And exit finding DGT. It's luken all alone in a 1 versus 4 to deny MIBR. An 18th and a flawless CT side. And I think as this one's been playing, that's easier than done. A tough round for what has been one of the best players for 9Z. He's trying to bait out a shot. Takes damage on the cross at the very least. Down to 63. Trying to do what he can. Damage being dealt at range. A shot on doors with the AWP. One more to find on the site. Spotted out brilliantly. Luken. A 1-man army trying to deny. But with 25 seconds on the clock and 2 players to find, even a rotation over towards B will be risky. And he's caught with a knife in hand. For all his half for MIBR, 18-15. And well, 9Z need a flawless half in response. That's just to push it to double OT.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Again, he gets so close there. And the worst part is that he could have planted, but obviously he didn't know that. He didn't know how far away those players were. He didn't know how much time he was going to have. If he'd been able to plant and maybe hold that angle, might actually have been able to clutch that one out. But it's not to be. MIBR find themselves here on match point. They also find themselves back on their T side. This was their weaker side by far. And I will be very curious to see if 9Z are somehow able to bring this back into their control. Start bringing up a little bit of a scoreline for themselves here.
Question. Bit of a spam battle in towards doors. One of which Tuurtle's coming out on top with. It's damage up to 46. That's exactly the kind of starting information they wanted. The only thing is now that for MIBR, they might not want to tempt fate over towards long. They know the aggressive stance has come forward from 9Z. They're trying to get all that control. And as we stand, they don't really need to overextend. They don't come forward. Chelo takes a little bit of chip damage. All 5 remaining alive, both sides. And MIBR trying to get an understanding of how the CT is set up.
And I mean, MIBR, we've seen this very often with them. Really slow approaches, trying to bait out some of that util, trying to find out some of that information where they can. Nice to see them kind of posturing for a B site hit here, but let's see how they utilize this util. The smoke's gonna clear. Oh man, JOTA doesn't even have a chance for the smoke to clear. He's just deleted.
Max, double from window. Don't even expect rocks in close and personal. Only good for one though. Max stepping up once again, and he's looking to make it a quad kill, which he does effortlessly. Man, really nice, or Max may I say, really nice round from him, finishing off Wood, but it's still map points in favor of MIBR. We mentioned that 9 did have to be flawless, and that pressure can be a real difference maker. MIBR thrived under the pressure. The question is, will 9Z thrive or will they crumble?
Round and around we go.
Yeah.
9Z managed to secure themselves this CT side in this overtime. Now they got to keep that going somehow. I don't know. It feels like both of these teams kind of, as we were saying, you know, thrive under pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
Consistently just bringing themselves back in round after round and staying alive. And I mean, this is still just map 1, guys. We have a whole best of 3 to get through, and if it, you know, maintains this level of back and forth, we could be here a while. We're in for a very, very good series. As now that little bit of a pause is going to tick down, and 9Z, after securing themselves a nice little round here, I'm actually impressed that MIBR went for that B hit, but it's kind of the same thing as what I was saying with 9Z. You know, there's these growing pains with that B site, which could have been cleared up 15 odd rounds ago, but instead they're trying to figure it out now, and it's a little late to be trying to figure that out. We might just see them kind of fall back into the tried, tested, and admittedly failed A short pushes.
That's the question. Speaking of A shorts, that's where we're posturing. Chelo leading the charge. He's got 32 kills to his name, 89 ADR. It's been a very good performance from him so far. He's been the real consistent factor in terms of success. And actually, we mentioned it earlier with kind of a, you know, him and Wood at a time now. It's, of course, changed hands to JOTA, pulling this team across the line. And, well, they're one round away from exactly that. Making their way over towards A. One player towards the site, and then a luken. 2 players deep in towards long. And here comes the flash miss shot. Will allow and invite the rotation back. Luken avoids the flashbang second time of asking. Cross to be made on towards the side. And now he needs to be extremely careful to be overextended. Well, Luken, close range, shotgun AWPing comes alive. JOTA will fall. Chelo follows suit. Wood in for the trade at the very least. Brings the numbers somewhat a little bit more level. And Wood does exactly that. He himself traded out by David. That long control still not gone by the T side. In a 2 versus 3, the bomb's still yet to go down. And MIBR in a real tough spot, with only 27 seconds on the clock.
Tuurtle takes way too long to rotate in here, and Exit finds himself in a very, very vulnerable position. Now Tuurtle does realize that there's one moving in from behind him, but he can't really afford to split his attention. They have to maintain control of this bomb.
Easier than done though, isn't it? I mean, post bomb somewhat set up, and with Tuurtle falling all down to 1-man Exit on top of the box. He knows one coming from short, and DGT just too quick. There we go. There we find it. 1917 or 1817, may I say, on the battle for 19, or the battle for double OT. 9Z.
Oh my goodness.
1 round away from that flawless half he said and asked for. Well, well, well. Who would have thought it?
Me. Something about these CT sides, man. I don't know. That was again another round where it felt like MIBR had the control. They had a good opportunity, but Tuurtle takes so long to rotate in, and it feels like they're too scared to make those moves once they commit. And that's the biggest problem. You know, when a call comes through, you have to commit. You have to go for it. Tuurtle takes so long to get there. By the time he does, exits, he's, you know, cornered, and he doesn't really have an angle. And then Tuurtle gets pincered in. And at that point, it all just starts to fall apart. The dominoes topple over. And they have such good ideas. It really feels like these plays can work out, but it's these small kind of missteps from the mid to late round where they just get picked apart. These retakes have been so good, and post plants for both of these teams been somewhat non-existent.
No, exactly. I think that post plant with the man disadvantage was very, very tough. But, you know, you are spot on, realistically speaking, both of these two sides. That's been probably one of their biggest weaknesses. Hence why we're seeing the CT side be such a dominant factor. You know, that MIBR comeback, and the T side's on the slightly more lackluster side of things now. Surprise, surprise. Making our way over towards that short position. Who would have thought it? MIBR going for their defaults. Smoke and Molotovs will come forward. DGT holding close and personal. He wants to try and find that shot from below. Looking in for support with the AWP. A couple of missed shots in that previous round. Nearly were costly and long trying to be clear now. The split on towards A is the priority. Tuurtle with U2 in hand. Flash will come through. Will slightly catch out David for holding and waiting. Didn't expect him to be jumped in towards the close corner. Numbers now, I was going to say favour the CT side. Yes, they do. We're brought level again by JOTA. Bomb to be planted this time. Potentially could work in their favour. It is kind of planted for long, but exiting a 1 versus 2. Bomb behind the box, and this becomes very, very difficult to do. And they can just defuse it. Max can't be stopped. And there we go. Double OT on the cards, ladies and gentlemen. And that is where we're heading. Double OT as, well, 90 flawless CT side. MIBR flawless CT side.
I'm shook. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say anymore. It's so closely contested, but it all comes down to both of these team CT sides. Their T sides have been
Yes.
they're all right, but the CT sides have been so good, and it's a combination of like one team having a good CT side and the enemy team having a lackluster T side, and that kind of comes together, that the handshake meme, and that it, you know, ends in double OT. But we do have a nice little trade out here. Chelo's taken off the board, and that could be a good opening for 9Z, despite the fact that they have lost one of their players as well.
Well, mentioned the opening kills being important. 4 versus 4. Out towards long. MIBR slightly changing it up with not that short default. Molotov will come in from DGT. Tempting fate a little bit, but there's that Molotov working so brilliantly. DGT stepping up with a double. Tuurtle did find one, but it's a quick trade. Numbers favour the CT side, but looking at 9Z's HP. DGT on 13, looking on 18, not the easiest scenario to be in, but DGT makes it one more. Quick trade, exits now in a 1 versus 2 with 9 points of HP to work and a slither of utility. Just that Molotov left in his hands.
You know what's wild?
Hit me.
We're here in double OT, and the Cruzeiro Imperial match is about to finish. Like, they've just gone into halftime on map 2.
Yeah.
And it's 12-3, so it's very close to ending. This game, this is where it's at, people. This is where you need to be. Such a closely contested match, and this is just the upper final. Like, this doesn't even determine who's going to Dallas. Well, I suppose in a way it does, because whoever wins this, by virtue of the fact that they're into the grand final, will have that spot in Dallas. So in a way it does decide that. But it's, you know, with a team that loses here, all hope isn't lost. They go down into the lower bracket to try and battle their way back in. It is 2, right? Or is it? No, it's only 1 team. Ooh.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. No, it is only 1 team. So there you go. It's not even the final kind of slugfest here for these teams, but they're trying so hard because there's like mental thing that comes with being in the lower brackets, you know, knowing that there's no safety net. And it makes it that little bit harder to keep your balance, to keep yourself composed.
No, exactly that. I mean, it's one of those things, right? That you can't... It's not a done affair. There's still a lot more to do and a lot more to kind of... That long road to success, as we've already mentioned. Match has been paused there before we get underway in towards fully OT number 2. Nice, a good start on their CT side. I think you're right in saying this is if it's just like tech issue. So hopefully back on the way momentarily. But yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, the other game, Imperial and Cruzeiro, that one's nearly finished, potentially speaking, or both the two maps. And here we are, deep into double OT. Sam, it's looking like a long night ahead of us. And of course, for you that don't know, yeah, I was going to say, for those of you who don't know, it's 1:46 a.m. for you, isn't it? And it's 1:45 for me. Obviously, I'm an hour behind. Not actually too sure what the time is in South America currently. I'll have a look. It's 8:46 p.m. So it's a reasonable time for a little bit of CSGO over in Brazil currently. The question is, can Made in Brazil turn this on back around? And we'd like to see, hopefully, I mean, even technically speaking, one round on the T side could be the difference maker.
That's the thing, though. I was kind of just thinking about that. Whichever team manages to snag a round on their T side probably wins. It's that simple at this point. Okay, that being said, I mean, if one team wins one on their T side and then the other one wins one on the T side, then just around and around we go. But theoretically, the team that wins on their T side, very likely going to be the team that pips it over. This is starting to become stressful, I think. I mean, can you imagine being these players off the back of I mean, especially if you're MIBR, right? You've already come off of a pretty intense series. And now you slap into the next one. The effect it must have on your mental and, you know, the tenacity to keep going, to keep coming back into this. I respect it. I take my hat off to them.
Yeah, double blood just, it's for MIBR. A T-side round, though, as we mentioned, that could be the difference maker because neither of these sides yet to find a T-side round. You know, it's Nate going to come forward, chelo going to find that damage, down to 72. But holding and waiting, MIBR, surprise, surprise, could be tempted to go back over towards that short default and try and bet out that utility that way. Swinging in, don't clear rocks close and personal. Flashes will come forward, no Molotov to clear him out either. Spam will come through, rocks can just hold and wait. Look at the try and find one more, nice flash as well. But chelo full blind delivers nonetheless. Rocks falling, looking to find one more. chelo does it brilliantly. Doubles down, Max will fall. The AWP from above, from window, trying to deny any space. And he will do oh so effortlessly. Good for one. But for the second, no scope doesn't quite connect. That's MIBR being the first side in OT to get a T-side round. There we go, finally.
Hey, I mean, that we said it. That could be the tipping point. That could be what takes us all the way. Now, we are kind of tied up a little bit here. And MIBR still have a bit of an uphill battle. Because, of course, 9Z could just, you know, string the next few rounds together. And, well, then what? But this is interesting. Double AWP on the T side. And luken says, sit down.
A shot from luken as well. I mean, we mentioned him being one of the difference makers, realistically speaking, for a lot of the success from 9Z. And, well, once again, stepping up to the fray. He had big shoes to fill when Try left. And big shoes to fill in bringing this game back in favour of 9Z in the third half of overtime so far in OT number 2. We'll have to wait and see. So, utility making its way in. They're going to replicate with a smoke in towards doors. That just denies all the space over towards MIBR and allows him to play very aggressive if he wants to. And of course, by playing so far forward, he avoids a lot of the flashes coming through. But the rotations being made back over towards short and exit with a smoke in towards doors, it allows him that cross.
Posturing towards A short again. Was the B hit that worked out for MIBR, but they don't want to be too telegraphed, which I think would be difficult given how seldom they've actually done that. But they also know that they're at a player disadvantage. They have to go for the push that's most likely to net them results, given that they are at a bit of a disadvantage here. So we're going to be heading back in for that short push. The flash is going to come out. They are able to get in onto site. They've pushed luken off of his position. How can they capitalize?
Bomb planted. Post one attempt to be set up. MIBR. It's a much better T-side from them so far, but the numbers don't favour them. Resmoke in towards not a long. Tuurtle's trying to go aggressive, very close to being caught off guard. Trying to tap away, but it's DZ and David stepping up to the fray. David makes it one more. Even exit all alone. It's a flawless round for 9Z. I question whether the post plant could find anything, and the answer is no. Half in favour. Oh well. 20-19 is where we stand heading in towards that second half. It is very much all to play for, Sam. But Nine's at a slim lead. 22 is what we're looking for, too.
Doable. It's going to be rough. Let's see if 9Z can get something done on their T side. MIBR were able to make it happen against all odds.
Mm-hmm.
Now 9Z have to dig deep here to really make something happen. I will also just point out Luken has hit the 30 bomb.
Yes, yeah.
It's taken a little while to get there, but he's done it, which is always quite nice to see. I mean, Max, the kind of quietest player on the 9Z team, is sitting on 19 kills. It doesn't really, you know, they're all really performing incredibly well here. And speaking of 30 bombs, I mean, Chelo's up there on 35 as well. I mean, he's just, we've said it before, he's been so good, whether he has a rifle, an AWP, whether he's scoping or firing straight from the hip. He's somehow getting a lot of results here, and that's going to make this T side so much harder for 9Z. They are going to have to get through Chelo.
Ooh, Max, nice opener. 9Z gunning for this map in their favor. It's not a bad place for it to be in. Rox just take damage through the door. We mentioned about Chelo, how he was so good in finding that opening. Bit of information with a tag through the door. Soundcue's gain there to follow suit. This time, Rock's down to 18. Fortunate to stay alive, but the question is, will they clear X over towards B if they're tempted to? But another rotation, once again, looking like it actually could be posturing towards mid. They've given up that tunnels control. They're open towards lower, looking over towards short. JOTA's gone aggressive, and Max does need to be careful. He's tempting fate here. A peek up in towards short could be his demise. And it is. JOTA's going to fall. Numbers now heavily in their favour. Missed AWP shot as well could become costly in the long term. As Wood making that rotation back over towards CT, but it's a 5 vs 3.
We said 9Z could make it happen here on their T side. Giving themselves a numbers advantage already, but it's Chelo holding down the site. He does manage to get one and the second on top of it. And just like that, he's evened out the numbers because you know that there's a... Oh, and he's out.
Good attempts. Nice try. Nice cigar, though. His exit left in a 1 vs 3. Bomb to go down. Momentarily, there it is. I was questioning it. I was like, are they going to get it down? Yes, they are. Bomb planted. Both planted to be set up. Rock goes aggressive. That's the information gain. Cyber attack damage dealt. 9Z in a 2 vs 1. All they have to do is play for the trades. Play together, double stack, and off the back of it, should be able to find a bit of success. They know he's spotted going on the cross. He's got one towards ramp, which he's going to try and deliver upon. The question is how does Luken want to play this? They're waiting for sound cues. It's a nice hold. It's very, very passive. DDG's playing this to perfection. We said how these two have played so well together, and there's a prime example of exactly that. DGT and Luken, textbook stuff in the post plant. And it's map point once again, but 9Z, they failed from this position before.
Yeah, I mean, MIBR find themselves back onto the CT side, and this is where they've been doing their best, you know, out of the entirety of this map, I suppose. 9Z just falling short there. 1 round to go, and the side swaps. And they find themselves still a little bit of a tough position to be in. Tables continue to turn. IBR have been looking very, very good here. Very, very solid. Nice map control again. 9Z gonna slow things down massively. Again, you know, we find ourselves in that spot where we realize how important this round is. 9Z realize they cannot make a single mistake. That was very nearly that very mistake. Just manages to survive.
Of course, now the AWP rotating back over towards window. Chelo mentioned him being a standout performer. We need another one of those prime examples. Double AWP setup coming through. Rotation coming back, and 9Z going for that mid-take. It's looking like they've been so good, and they're going to play contact on this as well. No utility. They're just going to try and find that opening kill. In comes a bit of utility, but actually no. Max pays the price for exactly that. DGT in for the trade. Takes a lot of damage. 4 vs 4, but in comes the smokes. AWP holding. Chelo, double stack over there. Rock's going to find exit. That's an important kill because Chelo's in a very isolated spot here to try and deny this control. The rotation has to come through, but it's a question of who wins the race. Flash will come in. Missed AWP shot. Will he be punished for it? Couldn't find the way out the door. Full blind. Dabbing his way into his death as It's now a 2 versus 4. Tuurtle and Wood trying to deny. Wood finding one with the AWP. Looking to find one more. The AK-47 delivers of Tuurtle, bringing the numbers level. And potentially could even find MIBR their 20th and keep the dream alive of taking their own map pick. Flash will come over the site. Orb shot won't quite connect. And it's all down to one. Wood. Won't even be able to deny the bomb as well. Shot not quite connecting. Was always so close to the target. Second time of asking does exactly that. Looking for one more. It's the all versus all battle as... Well, Wood's going to opt for the AK-47. Luken opting for the deagle. And he's not going to be able to come out on top. Wood picks up the rifle and delivers brilliantly.
I cannot believe that we have another round that ends like that, where the post plants are just non-existent and the CT team, whoever it is, whichever team, just dismantles whichever team is on T side. Okay, it just so happened that this time around it was CT, MIBR, and T side 9Z, but come on! It is devastating to see these small misplays consistently happening. Okay, you know, props to the CT team to be able to take advantage of those small missteps and convert it into a round win in their favor, but at this point, I mean, it's just starting to get ridiculous.
1-for-1 trade into towards long. Luken finds the opener. JOTA brings things level. T-side and 9Z tried to go for that aggressive push out towards long. Something which they haven't really done so far in towards OG number 2. And it doesn't work. Now it's back to the drawing board to try and devise a new plan. Get that bomb down. We mentioned the post bomb to be lackluster, but even getting on towards the site on T-side has been a tall order.
Alright, 9Z. What's the plan here? Looks like it's gonna be a short push. Fair enough. DGT is going on a little bit of a potential flank from the long side. Oh man, it's just completely shut down. I mean, they know every round it's a short push.
DGT, nice shot from him though. At least making it a doable affair. Max took Ash one in transition. This could turn the tide. Finding the AWP of chelo here, of course, gives him that B-side. Smiling through the door. Chelo fortunate to stay alive, and he's going to make the smart decision to ball back over. But Wood finding DG, they know exactly where Max is coming from, and this more or less should be OT number 3 on the cards here. Unless Max can pull off something unbelievable. Spotting one in towards long. Nade will come forward, potentially causing a little bit of chip damage. Flash to come through as well. Trying to get that plant down, but exit was there for the flank. Ladies and gentlemen, OT number 3 on the cards for us. And, well, because of that, we're going to throw this one to a break. We'll see you after it. See you in a second.
Slowing down just yet as MIBR are about to win yet another CT round, as these teams really do struggle to win those T sides. See if one of them can make that happen here. Oh goodness,
it's been a definite weak point, hasn't it? That T side still slowly maneuvering in towards lower tunnels. Missed off shot can be punished, and they will do. Luke gonna fall. Chelo, free kill for him. Not a bad start. Exactly what MIBR needed off the back of that Woods aggression, and just like that, a side advantage. Who would have thought it on the CT side? Going the way of MIBR. The question is now, how far can they take this?
Chelo about to hit that 40 bomb. You know what? How often do you see how many is that? 5 players that have hit 30 kills plus?
Yeah.
Oh my god, we just keep going. Round and around and around. Alright, so let's take a look. Yeah, bomb still in spawn. As 9Z look to get some of that early information. No aggression this time around from MIBR because they realize doing that again is probably suicidal. Now 9Z said someone to go fetch that bomb. Ooh, the timing on that could have been so bad.
That nearly got very dicey. I mean, both sides putting out the util could have been the difference maker, but no, fortunately, not for them. Second half, asking no exit, makes it 2. Looking for 3, damage dealt, but chelo comes in for support. in a matter of seconds as Luken and DDT, the dynamic duo, left with a tall order above them. Reload come forward and JOTA might even try to play contact here. Doesn't even need the utility. They're all up in his face. Smoke waiting to be dissipated, and when it does, that's where things could potentially work in his favour. Damage dealt both ways. Moreover, towards the T side as DDT and Luken in a precarious spot. Chelo holding from that backside, looking fine in one. JOTA will fall as Chelo's still trying to play contact over towards B, spotting him out. DGT will fall, it's all down to the AWP of Luken in a 1 versus 3. I think it's safe to say MIBR are gunning for 23 here, unless Luken pull off the impossible, but not to be. Tuurtle trades out. That's 23. We're looking for 25 and the 2 away.
All right, MIBR, one more round and you're on match point. And it's been a while since you found yourself in a... I don't think MIBR have been on match point. Have they?
I think it was 9Z both times, right? Or am I right in saying?
We could be wrong on this one. But either way, this is the one that matters.
Of course.
The double AWP is still in play here. Looking to take a little bit of that control that we enjoy so much. Mid is completely free though. The one time that the A short push probably would have worked out really well. Instead they're going for the long push, yeah, right into the AWP of Chelo. That's the 40 bomb, definitely confirmed.
Need to find one more as well. Won't quite find it. Nearly collecting on the collateral. That could have been a difference maker. Flash out towards long. Going to reposition out so slightly away from that cubby. That's where the Molotov would have forced him into a tough spot. Flash will catch him. Smoke in his face as well, allowing him somewhere to move. How does he want to play this? Free kill for him. Nade to come through as well. Chelo causing problems in the server right now as he looks to try and make it a 3K. Damage dealt with a no-scope connect. No, it won't. DGT and Luken bringing this to a doable affair. Smoke in the face of Woods as well. Denies that space. The 5-7 could cause problems. But his exits Molotov, in fact, finding one. The flank of JOTA more or less confirming. Unless Luken can pull off a brilliant 1 versus 3 that's going to be MIBR flawless at this stage. Luken good for one. Looking to find one more, but it's not going to be the case. And half time of OT number 3. It's MIBR with map point on their map pick.
There we go. MIBR bringing it back here. But 9Z, we've seen this before. I've heard this song many times. 9Z back on the CT side here, and they have been very good on it. Question is, where are those adaptations? There have been many rounds for MIBR to start anti-stratting, to start thinking about how they're going to approach this. And I mean, they've done enough to keep themselves alive, to keep themselves in this series for this incredibly long. Can they keep going? I mean, look how far back they're playing now. Usually they like at least meet kind of halfway on the map.
Yeah.
This time around, they're pulling so far back. It's almost like they're afraid that 9Z is going to do exactly what they did with the super aggressive push. But there's Chelo once again coming up big. The very first pick of the round. Starting to look good for MIBR.
Thought about start.